Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Discriminating Gamer. My question is, why doesn't England have a dedicated kidney bank? They've already got a Liverpool. Ladies and gentlemen, today we're going to go ahead and take a look at my top 10 games set in Great Britain. All right, ladies and gentlemen, so these are games that take place in the British Isles. Pretty self-explanatory here. Now, I will say there are some games, like an Axis and Allies or something, where Britain is represented on the map. I'm not looking at stuff like that. I'm looking at stuff that are set in Great Britain and perhaps offer some kind of a cultural look there at Britain as well. First of all, some honorable mentions. The King is Dead from Osprey Games was a really fun area control game in the Middle Ages. Richard the Lionheart from Come On. This was a fun game. Kind of set, of course, the time of King Richard and Robin Hood and whatnot. It was a great game. It really shined with 5 players. I think you really needed exactly 5 players. Played up to 6, but you needed 5, I think, to really make it work. But they're both really great games. Let's go ahead and jump into the list now. All right, number 10. So this is Sherlock Holmes Consulting Detective. This is, I think it's from Ustari. This game was very fun. It's kind of a storytelling game, and there's a lot of different expansions. I think I've just played one of the expansions, but essentially it's a storytelling game, and it's a game you can play it competitively. I played it competitively, and it sucked. You got to play this game cooperatively. But essentially, you are attempting to. There's various mysteries you have to solve, and several mysteries within a game. And of course, you have to kind of read through a lot of things, and you have to kind of try to solve the mystery. And one of the things that you're trying to do over the course of the game is you're looking at newspaper clippings that have different bits and pieces, or you go to certain locations and interview people, and they give you bits of information. So you're trying to figure out exactly what happened here. And then at the end of the game, you're looking and seeing how many steps it took Sherlock Holmes to solve the case, and then you are trying to, of course, beat that number and see if you got a better number than Sherlock Holmes. I don't think I ever have. But it is really a lot of fun. If you like storytelling games, if you like games with a lot of text and reading and deduction, I think this is one you'll get a kick out of. This is Sherlock Holmes Consulting Detectives, my number 10 from Istari. My number 9 is going further back into history. This is from a solitaire game from Worthington Publishing. This is Braveheart Solitaire. I'm a big fan of the solitaire book games that Worthington has put out, and of course, this is very fun. And what you do is, of course, you have a number of actions that you can take, and you can roll a die to attack at a certain angle, a certain place, and then if you hit, you cross out, the enemy's area there. But then your enemy also is going to react. You roll a dice on their table, and it's what their reaction is and how they fight you. And this is similar to a lot of their other games, but this one was fun because it did have that kind of medieval or Middle Ages, I should say, kind of theme to it, kind of feel to it. And Braveheart's just a great story, right? And an interesting character to begin with. And they did a great job here with this one. So this is number 9, Braveheart Solitaire. That is from Worthington Publishing. My number 8 was a game that was released originally by Victory Point Games. It was republished by Worthington Publishing. And this is Cruel Necessity, set in the English Civil War of the 1600s. And of course, you've got King Charles and his forces that are trying to destroy Puritanism and Protestantism, Puritanism and Parliament, the big P's. And of course, you're trying to kind of maintain your position in London. You want to make sure the armies don't get to London. But there's also various tracks like a Catholicism versus Puritanism track, a monarchy versus kind of republicanism track, and you got to look out for Scotland and Ireland as well. And then on the board, there's all the kind of like little up and down triangles that are like victory points or negative victory points, and that's kind of how you're calculating your score at any one time. Card-driven game, and what's cool here too is you've got battles. You've got these like a battle board where you kind of lay out your tokens, and then you kind of reveal them to see exactly what your enemy's battle line and your battle line are. Really a lot of fun. It's a great solitaire game with some great history behind it. So I really enjoyed Cruel Necessity. That is my number 8. That is from Worthington Publishing. My number 7 is a lot lighter, and it's tremendous fun. This is one of my ultimate bluff and double bluff games of all time. This is Sheriff of Nottingham from Come On. Sheriff of Nottingham is a great game where, of course, Every round, one player is the sheriff, and you're trying to sneak goods into town. And you can try to bribe him to not look in your little pouch where you've got your cards, um, or he just may decide to look into your pouch. Now, if he looks in the pouch and there's no contraband in there, he's punished. But if he looks in there and there is contraband, then you are punished and you're going to lose points. It's such a clever and simple game, and it's one of those games that you play with your friends and you're laughing the whole time. It's so much fun to try to see if you can outwit somebody there, and bluff them. And sometimes you want them to look into it because you know there's nothing in there and you know it'll hurt them. Great game. I love Sheriff of Nottingham. This is my number 7. This is from Come On. My number 6 is a Fantasy Flight game. Came out, I want to say 2017, I think, and it's kind of a scaled down version of a larger game. But this is Whitehall Mystery. Whitehall Mystery, one of you is playing Jack the Ripper. I think up to 3 other players are playing the policeman who are trying to find him. But it's a fairly quick game. You're on a board that's not too big, and you're Jack the Ripper is kind of moving around. He has special abilities where he can move through um, uh, kind of cut across buildings or take a carriage. And of course, he's got conducted the murders. He's trying to get home every night, and it's really a fun kind of hidden movement game. Really one of the best in the series of hidden movement games because I do love hidden movement games, and I like this one because it's fairly light, it's fairly quick, but it still packs a huge punch, especially if you like the Jack the Ripper um, theme of the game. I think you'll get a kick out of it. But this is Whitehall Mystery. This is my number 6, and that is from Fantasy Flight Games. My number 5 is another game that takes place kind of in the mythic English past. This is Shadows over Camelot. Shadows over Camelot is a great game of the Arthurian legend. And what's cool here is it's a hidden trader game. In fact, I think this might have been the first kind of modern hidden trader game that I'm aware of. But what you do in this game as the Knights of the Round Table is you have to, like I said, one of you may be evil, but it's possible there's no evil person there. But what you do on your turn is you have to take an action, and you have like playing cards, and you're playing cards on these like missions to try to solve these things. But after you take your positive action, you have to take a negative action. And your negative action can be putting a siege engine in front of Camelot. It could be taking a black card, which has negative repercussions for the knights. Or you can even take a hit on your own health. You got dice that track your health, and you can lower your health. But it's funny because virtually no matter what you do in this game, somebody's going to accuse you of being the traitor. And again, it's a game that you laugh at and your friends have fun with. I've actually got the expansion to it, but I've never played it with the expansion. It's something I need to do at some point because I haven't played again this game in years, and I love it. I always had so much fun with this game. And there's so many games I want to introduce my wife to, and maybe this is one we can play at some point. But I love Shadows over Camelot. Great semi-cooperative hidden trader game that just packs a punch every time I play it. So that is Shadows over Camelot. My number 5, that is from Days of Wonder. My number 4 is also a game that deals with the Robin Hood legend here. This is a Gest of Robin Hood. And this game is coin adjacent. It's irregular warfare, is I think what they call it. But it's a 2-player game in which one of you is the Sheriff of Nottingham, one of you is Robin Hood. And the sheriff, of course, is trying to get his gold into the city. Robin Hood's trying to interdict that. But you've got kind of an order and justice track. And there's a tug of war as Robin Hood is trying to get it toward justice, and the sheriff is trying to get it toward order. And so you're playing that there, but you've got kind of your typical coin ideas of what actions can I take, what other units can I activate, what can I do. It's a great puzzle. It's tremendous fun, and it's not that long. I think it plays in about 90 minutes or so. So I really liked a Gest of Robin Hood, a Jest of Robin Hood. I still don't know how to pronounce it. But it's a fantastic game. That is my number 4. That is from GMT Games. My number 3 is a game from Osprey Games, and this is Undaunted Battle of Britain. I'm a huge fan of all of the Undaunted titles. They're all great games. These are deck-building war games. Like Normandy was deck building, a tactical battlefield game, and Stalingrad, North Africa. But Battle of Britain was a little bit different because it deals with aircraft. And these are, of course, airplanes fighting over the coast of southern England and London during the Blitz, or around that time, during the Battle of Britain. And it's so much fun where you've got the planes, but they're entirely dependent upon the cards you play. So you want to recruit cards that you really think are going to help you over the course of the game and allow you to do those maneuvers and those attacks that you really want to do. Um, but I love all of the Undaunted games so much, and this one I think is really unique and brings something different to the game with aircraft. But I played this several times, and again, it's one of those games that every time I play, I got a grin on my face. Tremendous fun. So that is my number 3, Undaunted Battle of Britain. That is from Osprey Games. My number two, my number two is a game that I just mentioned its spin-off a little bit earlier, but this is Letters from Whitechapel from Fantasy Flight Games. So Letters from Whitechapel, the spin-off is Whitehall Mystery, but Letters from Whitechapel is kind of the ultimate Jack the Ripper game. And I included both of those games on here because I think they give you different experiences. They're both hidden movement games. They're both about Jack the Ripper. There's a lot of similarities, but this is a deeper game. It's a richer game than Whitehall Mystery. Um, Whitehall Mystery is more accessible. It's easier to get to the table. This one it's a little more complicated with the setup, but it's a lot more intense. And I got to tell you, I mentioned this before. I played this game both as Jack and as the policeman, and I don't think I have ever physically felt tension more in a game ever than when I played Jack in Letters from Whitechapel. Because I mean, I remember the first time I played this, I literally felt like I was going to have a heart attack. I literally was thinking, I'm gonna die from this game. This game is gonna kill me. Jack the Ripper is still committing murders, right? Centuries later. So that's interesting. It's daunting, and consequently, when I play this game, I actually prefer to play the policeman because it is so intense. In fact, I remember one time I went to my friend's house, Kia and Eric, and I was teaching them how to play the game. But there were so many people there that one of us couldn't play. So I said, you know what? I'll teach the game, and Kia, who's going to play Jack, I said, I'll let you be Jack, and I'll just kind of advise you or whatever. She says, okay. And we're playing the game, and she's an actress. She's playing it pretty cool, but she'd take me aside, and she was just like, they're gonna get me, they're gonna get me, and I'm like, I know what it's like. It's such a good game. It's so much fun. I like I say, I love hidden movement games. They're among my favorite type of game to play. One of my favorite mechanics to play. And Letters from Whitechapel does it so freaking well. I love Letters from Whitechapel. It takes place over like 5 nights, and it's just every night you're like, oh, am I gonna get it? Am I gonna get it? Anyway, great game. I actually last summer for my honeymoon, Kim and I went to England, and we actually went on a Jack the Ripper tour, and it was so cool actually seeing kind of these locations that you've always heard about. And I mean, obviously, it's a very grim history, but you know, I'm a military historian. I do grim history, right? And it was such a fun thing to see. And as soon as I got back, I'm like, I got to play Letters from Whitechapel. I got to show Kim Letters from Whitechapel. I haven't had a chance yet, but one of these nights I got to do it. I think she'll love it. So that is Letters from Whitechapel. That is my number 2. That is from Fantasy Flight Games. All right, ladies and gentlemen, my number 1 game set in Great Britain. This is a game that came out here. Was it last year or 2023? I can't remember. It was either 2023 or 2024. And it was a game that there's a learning curve to it. There's a learning curve that you have to commit to learning it. It's not a game you can just jump right into. You really need to hit the rules and figure it out before you jump into it. And I played it a few times now. I played it with a full 4 players, which is really the way to play it. But I have played 2-player. 2-player is fun too, but you really want the full 4 players if you can do it. This is Prime Minister from GMT Games. This takes place during the Victorian era. You know, you got figures like Disraeli and Gladstone, and you're trying to get the favor of the Queen, but you're also you're the leader of your party. And essentially what happens is in a 4-player game, you've got the 2 parties. You got the Conservatives and the Liberals. And one player on each side is the party leader. and you can go ahead and potentially become prime minister. But then you can get knocked out of that spot, and the person who is on your team can challenge you to become prime minister, because there's only one winner in the game, and it's got this great element of, it's a kind of a team game, because the parties have to work together, but then at the same time it's not a team game because there can only be one winner, and it's such a good balance in this game, and there's such good ups and downs. And I love the history. I love the history of this game. It is so much fun, really one of the best political games um, that I can think of that I've played. Super love Prime Minister, an absolutely fantastic experience from GMT Games. Um, this is one of those games that, yeah, I'm talking about it right now. I want to get to the table again so bad. So that's my number one, Prime Minister from GMT Games. Well, ladies and gentlemen, let me know, what do you think? What are your favorite games that are set in Great Britain? What games do you think maybe should have been on this list, or you would put on this list? I'm very eager to know. And any of the games on this list you think are stinkers, let me know. As always, I ask you to please leave a comment here on YouTube, Board Game Geek, Facebook, X. Go ahead, like and subscribe to all those channels. Like and subscribe to our channel. Please. That means so much when we get people on board here. And also, too, if you see us on Board Game Geek, give us a thumb there as well. Now, if you do like history and military history, books on history, check out my other channel, Cody Carlson, PhD. We talk about all those things, and I post some of my lectures on there. That would mean the world to me if you would subscribe to that channel as well. And then, of course, if you do really like the kind of content we bring to you here on The Discriminating Gamer, please click on the Super Thanks button and leave a tip. I recently bought some of those London Bridge jeans, but they keep falling down.
Please somebody help me on my feet again, and I don't know where I'm going, and I don't know where I've been. Please somebody help me on the solid ground. It's a long time, and I've been dying. Once a year I wind up in the band. God knows that I love to fight, but I don't ever win. It's a fine line to damnation, but God let me in.
What I have done for the English language, Cody has done for board game reviews. Something is rotten in the state of Denmark, but nothing is rotten with Cody.